Good morning. Welcome to this Unitarian Church of Edmonton. My name is Bisanz. My pronouns are he, him, and his, among others. And I have the privilege of being your service leader this morning. I'll be joined by our minister, Reverend Rosemary Morrison. We hope that you in the sanctuary, you at home, participating online, anyone who's new, and those of you who will be on YouTube in a few days watching all this, we hope that you all feel welcome. Whatever your heritage, whatever your faith, whomever you love, however you identify, you are welcome here. I should note that for those of you who are new here, that this church is one of two Unitarian Universalist churches in Edmonton, the other being the Westwood Unitarian congregation in the Park Allen neighborhood. Want to note that we're grateful to all our volunteers who make the service possible. This list includes the greeters and ushers here in the sanctuary, all the people who work to deliver this service online, and those who created the service with images that we'll see here, with words, and with music. Now, to get this service off to an exciting start, let's have some announcements. Can we start with, come right up. Start with Jan.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Jan McMillan. We have a wonderful lunch planned and out in the Keeler Hall that we will assume that you will all join us for this, the long-awaited for Spudtacular. And we have, please stay because we have lots of food. And it doesn't matter whether you brought anything or not. We want you to all stay. It's all set up for you, and it'll be right after the service, ready for you to enjoy. Please join us.
Thank you, Jan. Although I have to say it might be inappropriate just because it smells good to leave during the service. Rosemary?
I have 3 announcements. Help me remember. The first announcement is that there's been a phishing attempt. So if you received an email from me, these come out regularly. So, hi Fergie. And so these come out regularly. So know that I will never, ever, 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 will I ever ask you to buy me an iTunes card? Does that sound like something I would do? No.
You're not techie enough.
I'm not techie enough. You know what? Kim is right. Also true. So these come out regularly for, usually somebody creates a fake email account. They see a lot of traffic, and so they find someone that maybe has authority, a minister, a doctor, and they send these out. It doesn't mean that I've been hacked. It doesn't mean our security has been breached. But it does mean that you have to be aware that these come out on a regular basis and to not fall for it. The email that came out recently this week, the email address is Minister FR for Christ at gmail.com. So that should have been a bit of a tip-off for a UU minister to not send that not have that email address. Second thing, I'd like to address the folks online. It says chocolate meditation on your order of service. I'm going to be handing out chocolates, yes I am, to everyone here in the sanctuary. However, I can't get them to you. So if you could, during a boring part of the service, before the chocolate meditation, if you want to go and find some chocolate or a raisin or a piece of fruit and have it beside you so that you can join us in the chocolate meditation. I highly recommend chocolate, but if you don't have any chocolate at home, a slice of apple or a segment of orange will do, or a raisin will do just fine. And during the activity that's called activity number 1, you'll be unmuted. Hopefully, Andrew's going to try to do that, and then you're going to be sharing stories with one another, and I'll give you further instructions at that time. Announcement number 3. This evening is a planned Jazz Vespers service with Andrew Glover, virtuoso jazz pianist. Guess where he is right now? Toronto. Snowed in. He's been rebooked for Wednesday. So as much as that saddens me, he will rebook with us, so we will have another opportunity to hear Andrew. And during the activity and before the service, we were listening to Andrew Glover on the piano. Tonight, Gordon Ritchie, thank you very much, and I have discussed that we will continue on with Vespers service, only it won't be a jazz Vespers, it will be a harp Vespers. So, thank you, Gordon. We can't reach everyone that maybe was planning on coming, so we thought we better have something for folks that come. So that took me too long, and so without further ado, I introduce Jacquiline. Oh, and my pronouns are she, her, and my name's Rosemary.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Declan. My pronouns are he, him. Hello, Fergie. I'm here to tell you about the movie night. We've been running these monthly movie nights at the church that is the last Friday of every month. So this month I'm here to tell you that we will be watching the movie The Public. That will be February 28th at 6 p.m. here at the church, completely free. Bring a snack and a drink. And the idea is that we watch a movie that will get us thinking, and then we discuss the movie related to our Soul Matters theme of the month. So this month it is living love through the practice of inclusion. And so our movie is The Public. Don't forget, February 28th, 6 p.m. here at the church. Bring a snack and a drink. Free movie night. Thank you.
Thank you, Declan.
Thank you, Declan. Is there another announcement? Is there anything about being 10? Is there another announcement to be made?
Are we singing? Ferguson did turn 10 in February.
Oh. Now, as a second prelude, Karen has selected some music to get us in a reflective mood. She's going to, I don't know how reflective this is, she's going to play Bushel and a Peck from Guys and Dolls. The next two things are to get you in the right mood. The first is, Reverend Rosemary just told me you can eat the jelly beans whenever you want. And the second, I'd like to invite Gordon to light the chalice for us. Thank you, Gordon. To get us started on the themes from today's service, consider a text by Maureen Killoran, selected by Reverend Rosemary. Love is the aspiration, the spirit that moves and inspires this faith we share. Rightly understood, love can nurture our spirits and transform the world. May the flame of this chalice honor and embody the power and the blessing of the love we need, the love we give, the love we are challenged always to remember and share. Thank you, Gordon. Our opening hymn this morning is number 38, Morning is Broken. The words will appear on the screen behind me and on computer screens for those of you at home. I'm betting that most of you will think of this hymn as a Cat Stevens song that came out, wait for it, 54 years ago. It began, though, as a Christian hymn with lyrics by an English woman put to an old Scottish Gaelic tune. The author of the lyrics, Eleanor Fargione, was asked by the editor of a songbook to make a poem that fit this lovely Scottish tune. Today, so 94 years later, we Unitarians get to sing this song that was a Christian hymn made popular by a singer who shortly thereafter became a Muslim. And whatever the musical score in this hymn says, I'm betting that what we sing will sound a lot like Cat Stevens gave us.
Today, I'll be reading The Day You Begin by Jacquiline Woodson and illustrated by Rafael Lopez. And I hope that as I read this, you can see how it fits so beautifully into our theme of inclusion, living life, living love through the value of inclusion, through the practice of inclusion. But one of the things I love about this story, I've read it before. How many have heard it before? I've read it here before. What I love about it is it's in the storytelling. It's in the getting to know one another that we can find our place, where the spaces open up for us and we can move into them and we can feel like we can belong. And so human nature being what it is, we seek the familiar. We seek for those that we know. We seek for the friendly voice and the knowing smile. And yet, we have to open up our groups, our hearts, our lives for others. And it is in the telling of our stories to one another that this can happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Now we continue with audience participation. Our church community is entirely self-governing and self-supporting. One of the responsibilities of our church community, of this free church tradition, is that we provide all the financial support for the work of the church. We also make a monthly contribution beyond our walls. 1/2 of the unidentified cash that is received is given to an outside organization. For the month of February, that half will be given to the Canadian Unitarian Council, the CUC, which supports Unitarian activities at the national level. If you'd like to make a separate donation for this purpose, you can use the envelope that can be found in the back of the hardcover hymnals or in the stand at the back of the sanctuary. Please indicate that your donation is for the CUC If you use an envelope, you can receive a tax receipt for your gift. I should note that many of our members and friends give monthly or annually through automatic withdrawal from their accounts.
Harder in this configuration. Yeah.
Thank you for your generosity and your support. With our time, our talents, our money, we support the work of this community and our Universalist and Unitarian traditions. The next part of this is service leaders' reflections, and I have to apologize in advance. I think service leader reflections are best when they're light and a little bit humorous. And unfortunately, when I was thinking about this topic, the topic of the month, inclusion, humor didn't come to mind first. So we all have some sense of what what inclusion means. 2 weeks ago, Karen Mills talked about the need for clarity of this concept. She referred to a book by Helen Turnbull, who wrote that diversity refers to a mix of people and cultures, and that inclusion refers to the process of getting to diversity. Last week, Reverend Rosemary talked about how inclusivity is not how we make you part of what we are, but rather, how do we become what you are? And the core idea of inclusion, or one core idea of inclusion, was presented nicely in the video last week, in which Lee Morris sang, "Just as You Are." Frankly, I'm concerned about what will happen to the concept of inclusion. We're witnessing political and social changes around much of the world, so that the ideas of promoting inclusion are being maligned as being unfair and out of touch. Some institutions, some companies, some governments are distancing themselves from inclusive policies and practices. I worry that what happened to the term woke will also happen to inclusion and its stablemates, diversity and equity. The term woke appeared in English about 100 years ago, first used by African Americans. Stay woke meant to be aware of the social and political issues that affected African Americans in their communities, usually around racism. Over time, the meaning of the term broadened. In 2017, columnist David Brooks wrote that, quote, "To be woke is to be radically aware and justifiably paranoid. It is to be cognizant of the rot pervading power structures." End of quote. I like that quote. His definition was about awareness, just as in the original, but it also highlighted power structures that can affect the way we think and act. His idea of wokeness was in line with the urging of Martin Luther King Jr. to stay, quote, "to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenge of change." End of quote. Over time, the meaning of woke also broadened in other ways to include not just awareness, but also what we're supposed to believe once we are aware. For some, wokeness came to mean believing that all white people benefit from white privilege and all people of color suffer from systematic racism, and all African Americans deserve reparations for the damage done by slavery, and law enforcement agencies should be defunded or disbanded, and all women suffer from systemic sexism, and capitalism is deeply flawed, and more. Now, I bet that some of us in this room would accept some or all of these positions. But keep in mind that wokeness was originally about being aware of sources of discrimination. It wasn't a prescription about what you have to believe about everything in society, and it certainly was not a package of recommended actions that you had to promote, else you are just not woke and therefore out of the club. Wokeness became entwined with identity politics. Woke washing became an approach to advertising, and woke capitalism became an approach to economic reform, all very superficial. And of course, the term woke became anathema to people on the so-called political right, so much so that now in Canada, being anti-woke is a battle cry for one of our major political parties. In short, woke started as a very sensible idea that we should be aware of issues and power structures that affect us, related to social justice. But it became a shorthand for a whole bunch of beliefs that went way beyond awareness, that enabled some people in the woke club to tell others what they should believe, else they were backward deplorables. The beliefs had a lot to do with virtue signaling, and it led to a backlash that has resulted in another club, an anti-woke club, and an ugly us versus them dynamic. We've gotten to the point where some people who think racism and sexism are bad things and must be fixed, nevertheless see themselves as fervently anti-woke. So, no news to you, valuable concepts can become compromised and appropriated for political and social purposes. It's happened to the terms conservative, liberal, social democratic, gender, and I fear justice. And don't get me started on how equity is being so misused as to become meaningless. Inclusion, as we think about it now, is a valuable concept and a practical goal. And there are good ways to address problems of inclusion that I think will be widely acceptable. But I worry that it will be tainted and robbed of its original meaning in service of some nasty and superficial slogans. So let's be aware of what happens to inclusion. Let's not let it go the way of woke. So we go to a hymn now. This hymn is Belonging, a hymn by Christopher New at the Westminster United Church. Chalice sang it 2 weeks ago, and the congregation sang it last week. Today we get another chance. I invite members of Chalice to the microphone over here to help us learn this tune.
So the next, I was going to say next item up for bids, but that's... yeah. Oh, pardon me. I'm going to do the chocolate meditation next. Yay! Okay, I need a little help from my friends. Everybody gets one of these, and if you're online, please get out your apple slice or your chocolate or your raisin, and you may not open them. Okay? No opening them. It's not a marshmallow. You will get to eat it, I promise. But part of the chocolate meditation is going to be in the unwrapping. Okay, are you going to hand them out, Fergie? Thanks. 1, 2, 3, 4. You read my mind, Marilyn, yes. More chocolate, always chocolate, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Pass them around, if you would, on your table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hi, Hope.
Thank you.
Pass them around. If we could bring the lights down just a little bit. Thank you. Okay, to prepare for this, as Ferguson finishes up, I invite you to take a couple of long, deep breaths with me. Thank you, Fergie. Appreciate it. Ferguson thinks there's enough for seconds. Ferguson may be right. You noticing your breath? Allow your mind to wander, soften your gaze if you like, or close your eyes. Feel your body. Maybe it's cold. It's a cold, cold day. Maybe you're just warming up. Maybe you're a little hungry. And you've had a couple jelly bellies. Feel the gravity pulling you towards the earth, the chair holding you. Allow your muscles to let go. Perhaps there's a spot in your body that there's some tension. See if you can breathe into it or wiggle it out. Then if you haven't already done so, if you want to place both feet on the floor for stability. And let's just focus on our breath for a few seconds. And if you would, pick up your chocolate. If you want a chocolate, if you prefer Jelly Belly, then feel free. Did you get one? Make sure. Oh, Jeff, thank you. So you're not eating them yet. I only asked you to open them. You haven't got the whole idea yet. No eating yet. Unwrap the chocolate and place the chocolate in your hand and feel it in your hand, please. How does it feel? Is the heat from your hand beginning to melt it? Smell it. How does it smell? Smell it again. Is there melted chocolate on your hand? Feel free to take a very small nibble, but do not chew. Let the little piece of chocolate sit upon the middle of your tongue. And let it melt there and fill your mouth. experience how that feels, just that little bit of beautiful, dark, free trade, organic chocolate. Just let it be in your mouth. And when you need to, feel free to swallow. Think about how that felt. Taking a moment and really experiencing the beauty of that tiny piece of chocolate. And once you have swallowed, I invite you to take another bite, maybe this time a little bigger. Just place it anywhere in your mouth, but don't chew it. Just experience it. How does it feel? How does it taste? What crevices in your mouth does it find its way to? Do you have to fight the urge to chew down on it? Just let it be. And when you have the urge to swallow, go ahead and swallow it. And think about how that has felt, how that has tasted, how it has smelt, how it has made you feel. Do you feel anxious to get the rest of it in your mouth? Go ahead. Put the rest of it in your mouth and eat it with wild abandon. The rest of the chocolates will be out at the potluck afterwards, along with any jelly bellies that are left for your enjoyment. And as you finish eating that chocolate, I invite you to just take a couple of moments to appreciate that it's come a long way. We don't grow cocoa beans here. It's come a long way and has been looked after by many hands. It's been roasted and cooked and made and ground and made into deliciousness for you. May we give thanks. I fell in love with this video that we're going to watch. The lights will all come off, and love is still the answer. And I probably watched it 1,000,000 times, so I'll be singing along. Please mute me. And I invite you to sing along as much or as little as you choose. Love is still the answer. Maybe it's always been the answer. Isn't that great? Now you know why I've watched it so many times. It's a beautiful, beautiful. So, activity number 1. That's where we are, right? Number 1. The first thing I'd like you to do, so if you're online, Andrew will unmute you, and I invite you to tell stories of a love of your life or something that you've loved, or a person or a child, and to just share those stories. I suggest when you're ready to tell your story, you raise your hand in the reactions, and that will put you into an automatic queue. And then you can take turns telling your story. For those of you here in the sanctuary, I invite you to find an envelope and put your name on it. And then there are stickers and little puffy hearts on the table. I invite you to decorate your envelope in whatever way you like. Now, put your hands up if you don't have a pen or anything. I got a big coffee can full of pens back here. So I'll bring them around. So the first thing you're doing is decorating your envelope after you put your name on it. Does everybody have a pen here at this table? Yep, we're good. Kim, I see ya. All right, have fun decorating your envelopes. You can put your name on it. Ralph, got one? Okay, and everybody here is okay? Yeah, maybe just grab a few. I don't guarantee. I didn't check them, so I have no idea which ones work and which ones don't.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So, yes, today is art. We're getting to do a bit of art.
Got you. I have so many pens.
Okay, everybody here at this table? Need two? Okay, now I'm going to come around with Valentine's. It's kind of like when you were in school and maybe three Valentines. And when
Hey, everybody.
one. Great. Who didn't get any? Who didn't get any? Please stand. Okay, have a seat, Maureen. The idea of this exercise was to show how we pick favorites in our activities. So I got 6. And I appreciate each and every one of you that gave me a Valentine, and I appreciate it very much. However, some people got 1, some people didn't get any. And so we need to be aware of this when we are coming to church, because we're going to pick our favorites to talk to. We're going to pick our favorites to have tea with before or after. We're going to gravitate towards those we get along with and have something in common with. And so often we ignore the people that we may struggle with or maybe don't know very well or have nothing, or as the book told us, have nothing. These people are not like me. But it is only in the storytelling, in the sharing of those stories with one another, and in breaking bread together. That's why table fellowship is so integral to the development of a congregation, to give us a chance to get to know one another and begin to share our stories. So this was a fun activity to point out that we, as Unitarian Universalists, we try hard to be inclusive. These are our values. And yet, nobody failed. This was not a fail or pass experiment, but just to illuminate how difficult it is to actually be truly inclusive with our behavior, with our friendship, with our stories, with sharing things with one another. And that is the point of this exercise. And I invite you to continue decorating the back of the UUA. The big sheets are from the UUA website, uua.org. If you look up Valentine's, you'll see all of those. And the little cards are from the UU Hysterical Society. Some of them were slightly off color. And, but, you know, we are the people that brought the world our whole lives, sexuality training, and so what better way than on Valentine's weekend to remind ourselves of that we are more than just brains and hearts, but we are whole people, and we can celebrate that. Thank you I hope you enjoyed this activity. I enjoyed thinking it up and putting it together. It is now time in our service, and it's getting late. And I apologize. I don't know where the time goes. I plan all these things, and poof, the time that I put times beside it and everything, but we were having fun. So there is a luncheon afterwards, and so I would like to suggest that during the candles I had it be spoken, I would suggest that we just light candles of joy and concern and not do spoken candles today, but I'll bring that in at another time so that we can enjoy the food as it is being prepared and as it is becoming ready. Does that sound okay? Okay. So, if we could bring the lights down just a little bit, and if we could think in our hearts and our minds about love on this Valentine's Day weekend, about how we can become more inclusive, how we can become more friendly with those that we don't know. How do we make the friends? The stations are open. I invite you to light candles of joy or concern at this time. And Jeff is at the ready to light one last candle for all the joys and concerns that we hold in our hearts, for all the love that we hold in our hearts, expressed and unexpressed. Thank you. And now we extinguish our chalice. Hymn, we have a hymn. I suppose we could sing. That was a joke because I don't know if you know this, but I love singing. It's one of my favorite things in the world. So here's a chocolate for you. When our heart is in a holy place, please rise in body or in spirit as you are able to sing this song.
Be seated. I invite Gordon to extinguish the flame in the chalice, please. As the chalice is extinguished, consider these words by Israel Buffardi and selected by Reverend Rosemary. When you go from here, know that our hearts are always in a holy place, for we are always connected to one another. Know that deep down, our hearts beat in one universal rhythm. May we each find the sacred space to hear it.
Thank you for being here today. Thank you for braving the very cold day. It's very cold out there. So we're going to we've warmed our hearts. We've given each other loving messages. We've been reminded about inclusion. We've eaten chocolate and jelly beans and did some art, and it's just been fun, hasn't it? I'm glad you were here to participate. Thank you to everyone that made this possible. Great job, Jeff. Thank you. And Karen and tech team. And now we're going to go and have some lunch. There's lots of food out there, so don't worry if you haven't brought any. So instead of a benediction, let's just remind ourselves to be thankful for the food that we are about to eat. May our hearts and minds and bodies be nourished by the food, by our fellowship together, and by the new friends that we are going to make as we partake of lunch together. Amen. Go in peace, gentle people. Go in peace. And let us do our linking song and go now in peace. No, carry the flame. That's a different era. Different church. Okay. There we go. Each table take a bowl of Jelly Bellies and put them on a table in the other room, please.
I'll just carry as much as